almost 7 years ago when we decided to get pregnant with our first. We had absolutely no idea that we were going to have 2 kids that will one day die from their disorder. Okay, so here's the story. My husband and I had been married for 5 years. We decided to start trying to have a baby. We got pregnant right away. My pregnancy was perfect. It was like that kind of pregnancy that everybody like hates you because you just look so good pregnant. And we delivered Hazel on July 28th. My husband actually pulled her out. We didn't know that she was going to be a girl, and so everyone was so surprised. She was perfect. Her APGAR scores were perfect, and we actually brought her from the hospital the next day. The night that we brought her home from the hospital, she started acting funny, but we never really like assumed it was something that wasn't like a normal baby thing. She was arching her back a little bit, and we're like, oh, she's probably just having gas. Like, she's a normal baby. Normal babies cry. And we prayed over her because she was crying, and she stopped crying. She went to bed. And when we woke up in the morning after having not much sleep, both my husband and I kind of looked at each other, and we knew we needed to take her to the hospital. Now, the day before, the only thing that was abnormal was her APGAR scores were great, but her bilirubin was a tiny bit high, so they wanted us to bring her back anyways. So we got her into the car, and as soon as we saw her in the daylight, we knew that something was wrong, but still never assumed that it wasn't something that was like normal baby stuff. We got her to the hospital, and the head NICU doctor just happened to walk by our room, took one look at her, and Hazel stopped breathing. Picture any ER movie that you've ever seen, and in an instant, that was our reality. She grabbed Hazel out of my arms, ran her down the hall while my whole world was just standing still, and I just remember being like, and the nurses were like, come, follow me. And I snapped back too, and I walked into a room, and there were 8 people pounding away at my brand new baby. Hazel had hundreds of seizures. Her brain was thoroughly damaged, and when we left the NICU, we had no answers. She had a feeding tube shortly after the NICU and was not hitting her milestones. We decided to start trying to have another baby when Hazel was like almost 3, because we had been told by genetics that it was not a genetic disorder, but we knew there was still a chance that it was. And so we got pregnant with our second, and right after we got pregnant, my first OB appointment, my OB saw a massive, what she called polyp, hanging off the end of my cervix, which we came to find out was a tumor, and I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. We did a comb biopsy while I was pregnant, and the doctors did not get clean margins, and so they decided to do 4 rounds of chemo with Russell in the womb. Russell and I did chemo together. Russell was born at 35 weeks via C-section, and I had a radical hysterectomy, and I was what I thought cancer-free, and we had a perfect baby. It was like God answered all of the cries in our heart, was just to have a kid who would grow up and learn to talk and read and make friends and maybe even get married one day. And day 2 of life rolled around, and Russell's lips turned blue. I didn't tell anybody for about a minute because I knew they would take him away. Being separated from your brand new baby is the worst feeling that a mom could feel. Before you know it, they were taking him up to the NICU. I was recovering from a radical hysterectomy C-section. I got myself in that wheelchair, and my husband pushed me up, and we told the doctors, we know what this is. We know exactly what this is. He has the same thing as our daughter. He's having seizures. And as we yelled at the doctors, telling them what it was, we had to wait while they hooked him up and they could prove that it was a seizure before he could get seizure meds. Those days were long, and they were really hard. Because here's the thing, when you feel like God's failed you once, but then you see a glimpse of his goodness, and then you feel like he failed you again, it's really hard. But here's the thing, God didn't fail us. He was there the whole time. He was there the whole time. One of my biggest people that I look up to, her name is Johnny Erickson. She's been in a wheelchair over 40 years, and she says that she truly believes that God did not take away her suffering. Because God did not take away my suffering, she says, he has given me an incredible privilege. And I feel that in my bones, even though the days are hard, and raising 2 kids with disability is hard. I believe God's given me a privilege to share their story and to share hope with people, that no matter if life doesn't look your way, you can still have joy. So I am a mom. I have 2 kids with a rare genetic disorder. It's in the family of something called NKH. It stands for non-ketotic hyperglycemia. It's a metabolic disorder. Most kids die at 10 days old. Mine survived. After that, the average age is 3 to 5, and I have an almost 7 and an almost 4-year-old. I share my story on TikTok because I know that it inspires people. I have a calling to inspire people to just hold on when life gets really hard, because you guys, my life has been really hard, but my life has been filled with joy and happiness and moments that are immeasurably more than I ever imagined. And so if that's something that resonates with you, I want you to go ahead and hit that follow button.